Welcome to my channel Living Linux. In this video I want to test Windows XP on the ARM Rockchip RK3588. 4 years ago I tested Windows XP with QEMU on my Pinebook Pro with the Rockchip RK3399. That was painfully slow, but now that we have a newer generation chip, it should be a bit faster. Now QEMU, it's being advertised as the fast processor emulator, but I'm afraid you have to take fast with a grain of salt. You're probably a lot faster with something like Box86 with Wine, but perhaps the compatibility is not as good as just running Windows XP with QEMU. So 4 years ago, I was running Manjaro on the Pinebook Pro and I used a graphical package manager to install the packages. Now here I have Debian with KDE and they have Discover. So if you search for QEMU, you can install the virtual machine manager. But unfortunately, QEMU is only a dummy package. So someone wrote in the comments the names of the packages that you need, and I think you only need those first two nowadays. Perhaps you needed the other one in the past, not really sure. So you can install it like this. I already installed it, so I'm not going to do it here. And once that's installed, you need to start the daemon, libvirtd, like this, and then reboot. Now, you can download Windows XP legally because, for instance, Hiren's bootcd, I think it's what they call a pre-deployment image, pre-deployment environment, and that's why it is legal to download Hiren's bootcd. So now I have already installed the virtual machine manager. So it needs elevated rights, and we're going to create a new virtual machine. So we're going to use the ISO image, and it is the 686, i686, because it's the 32-bit version. Windows XP also had a 64-bit version, but I don't think it was used that much. Now, the zip file doesn't have an hyphen, but once you extract it, then the ISO image does have an hyphen. But that's actually going to cause problems, but I will show you. And you can try to say that it's going to be Windows XP, so you need to include end-of-life operating systems. So here we have Windows XP. So let's just say 4096. Going to give it 4 CPU cores. And we don't need extra storage. And the network selection, you can just leave it on the default. It says inactive, so you can activate it. although it's... Oh yeah, so that's the error that I was talking about the hyphen. But what I was trying to say is that it's not a good idea to connect a Windows XP machine to the internet. Yeah, so what we need to do is take the hyphen from the file name. For instance, like this. So I'm going to say, take this one. Oops. And again, 4 cores. We don't need extra storage. So here it is, and we can boot the mini Windows XP. So we have the Windows XP logo. Yeah, it's still not very fast. So now I think it's started. Well, it's still doing some stuff. Okay. Looks like it's fully loaded now. So on my Pinebook Pro, playing Solitaire was already painfully slow. So let's see now. Well, it seems to be okay. So let's just say, just as a benchmark, let's start the menu and the programs. Let's start Avira. So let's just say on 45, we try to start it. It's going to extract it. So that took a bit over 30 seconds to get to this menu. Now if we go to the properties, so I allocated 4 gigabytes of RAM, but here it says there's 3 gigabytes of RAM. Well, okay. Well, as you can see that it is possible to boot Windows XP on the ARM Rockchip RK3588. Still not very fast, but I guess if you have something very old that you still want to run for some reason, then at least you have the option to do it. Don't expect to play any serious games on it, or at least games that need a lot of performance. Perhaps with Solitaire you're already getting close to the limits. But again, it is interesting to see that you can actually run Windows XP on an ARM system. But I guess in most cases you're probably better off with something like Box86 and Wine. So that's all for now, and I hope to see you again in my next video.